nothing. They add up to nothing. Greetings, children. Captain Disillusion here. Hustle culture is out of control. If I forget to debunk a video for 12 to 16 months, this whole operation starts falling apart. And all the worker rats start abandoning ship. My own unpaid intern went on some reaction channel and pretended to know stuff about visual effects.
It is an honor to have you join us on the couch.
I do feel at home.
Oh,
Pose with the fingers.
Really well done.
Look at them, having fun, sounding cool, exchanging loving glances. Well, guess what? They edit those corridor videos to make themselves look clever. Gee, I hope no one accidentally leaks a deleted scene from that very episode that they didn't want you to see.
You know, I'm always on the lookout for a legit video I could talk about for a little bit, and this is like a known magic trick, card through glass. Traditionally, you just figure out a way to get a card in that place already on the other side, but here, obviously, it's an effect because it's not there and then it's visibly there, except there's glass with reflections and an animal that you can't really control their behavior. I wanted to work on this with you guys.
At some point here, we're cutting to footage with the card on the inside of the glass. You have to hide a cut.
Well, if the card was there the whole time, that means they have to paint it out.
So I think his entire performance is without the card on the window at all.
Did they put black over the window completely to just have clean reflections? That's too much work.
Yeah, but yeah, you need no reflections on the monkey. Or you,
This is,
I mean, the card's
this is what I
sideways.
was talking about.
oh yeah,
he
also
doesn't
look,
even.
the card's at a different angle.
I think you're right about him
but
palming.
of course it's at a different angle because they're different cards.
Yeah, there's something simple we're not seeing because we're too overqualified for this.
The monkey has to react at just the right time. Does it look like something was painted out there?
See that nice like movement of him placing it? It really looks clean.
Yeah, I think his head is where the card would have been.
That's right.
Okay, so this is complicated, man. This is like, man, I'm stumped on this one.
Ha! So the three horse boys of the VFX apocalypse couldn't crack a simple case of orangutan-based card magic, eh? Well, looks like the captain's gonna have to show them how it's done. Now, as you know, I never reveal magic trick secrets. I left that life behind. But when a supposed performance is augmented with visual effects, well, that's not magic at all. That's my turf. I don't come to where you work and knock the handkerchief garland out of your mouth. And in the case of this video, it's actually an animal rights issue. See, that's not just any orangutan, it's Rajang, a majestic, pregnant belly-loving resident of Colchester Zoo in Essex, England's New Jersey. Sadly, Rajang passed away a couple of years after this video at a ripe old age of 50. He was beloved by many. The zoo even named the entire area after him. And the whole conceit of this video is that this guy, a local boy mentalist called Matt G, gave elderly Rajang a special gift, a magical experience, a little taste of the divine. And that sounds heartwarming, but as people with brains, we know that a playing card can't go through glass, so what we're seeing here didn't really go down this way. It was just a VFX dabbling performer's sick ploy to entertain you. As adorable as Rajang's reaction may seem, in real life, from where he was sitting, he didn't really witness a miraculous magic trick. And damn it, he deserved to! So let's put our collective years of experience casually spotting VFX imperfections in viral videos to good use and figure out exactly how this travesty of a magic hoax was accomplished. Keen-eyed viewers will notice that outside this video, Matt G's modest online presence consists of clips that often use the same compositing tricks we've seen used by influencer-gicians time and again. Things that are supposed to vanish, getting painted out for a few frames as they fall out of shot, things that are supposed to appear, getting painted out until they do, and things that were never there getting added as CG elements. In the Rajang video itself, there are plenty of, as your uncle might say, sus details. The gentle handheld camera shake suddenly stops, just in time for the magical moment. And when we stabilize the shaky part, we see absolutely no parallax shift.
Fake shake confirmed.
When Mad G places the card, it's at an angle, but once through the glass, it's perfectly vertical.
Inconsistency.
As he pulls his hands away, there are all kinds of wonky matting artifacts on them.
Wonky matting artifacts.
And no light occlusion on the card like at the beginning.
And no light occlusion on the card like at the beginning.
And a shimmering dark halo around the card.
Halo!
So much sus! And if you're the kind of viewer for whom that's enough, then we're all set. It's fake. Somehow. We got him. Thanks for watching. Come on. Right this way. Make sure you have all your stuff. And see you later. It's okay, breathe normally. Hey, just make sure the pressure regulator is... Oh no. Listen, it's gonna be fine. You need to locate the auxiliary... Do you hear me? Recalibrate the auxiliary... What are you doing? You have to act now! Oh God, no! Oh, well. At least you're still here. The VFX nerds who understand there's a little more to this thing. We need to figure out what all these clues add up to, because something just doesn't feel right.
There are 3 standard ways the effect could have been set up. 1. The card on the inside of the glass was there the whole time and simply got painted out for the beginning. That would be the easiest way to approach it. You could take a moment from after the card is removed and use it as a patch. Except, what about when this hand reflects over the area? Or when Rajang's furry arm and entire magnificent perspective-shifting face hovers in that exact spot? No, seems like the card could not have been there at the start. 2. Maybe the whole thing is some kind of fancy split screen. The 2 primates are not performing these actions at the same time. Okay, let's follow that through. I guess that would explain why Matt places the card at a different angle than how it ends up hanging. Except, even if we take for granted that all the beats of their behavior lined up so perfectly in this continuous shot with no sign of any speed ramping or transitions on either side, believe me, I checked. How were these reflections composited? I want you to really think about it. If Rajang isn't there when Matt G is performing, Matt's reflections are falling over an empty habitat, over this bright hay. How could they be cleanly extracted to be artificially put over Rajang's dark fur? Something extra clever like blacking out the window from inside for Matt's take would provide clean reflections, but even then, they could only add them over Rajang's take. His footage would have its own reflections of the environment, like this bright frame of the terrarium window across the hall. Doubled up when both sides are combined, how could it be fully occluded by Matt's body over Rajang here? It wasn't a split screen, that's how. All of this on both sides had to be happening in one take, as it appears. 3. The card on Rajang's side isn't there at all. It's a fake CGI card, animated in his hands. I mean, it does seem awfully dexterous the way he's able to handle that card. And we know the technology to do something like this exists. Have you seen the various planets of the Apes? Except this couldn't be the answer either.
Because of a simple philosophical principle. You've probably heard of Occam's razor, but not the less known yet highly regarded Captain's Quadruple Blade Hair Eradicator, which states, events cannot be explained by advanced VFX in a shot where crappy VFX are present.
So please stop doing that in the comments of every questionable video that's ever existed. Just think about it. The amateur camera wiggle, the janky roto on the hands. Does this really look like the work of someone who could also pull off ILM quality rig removal or Weta level character animation?
No, it doesn't add up. Look, at the very beginning, as Rajang settles, he breathes on the glass, leaving a blob of condensation. And this blob slowly dissipates throughout the video while receiving shadows and refracting Rajang's hand behind it the entire time! Which means that all our special little VFX clues add up to nothing! Nothing. They add up to nothing! And this is where you leave me. It's not worth it. A bit too much drama for ordinary nerds to find out how a random video was faked. Bye-bye. But you're still here. The obsessives. The ones who've seen every video of mine and of my enemies. The ones playing this on a second screen at 4 a.m. while typing your own 80-page video essay script on the socioeconomic problematicism of climate identity. You inspire me. I feel like I can still crack this. I just need a bit more focus. I got it! The ultimate dilemma is, both sides of the action have to be happening simultaneously, but the card cannot be there at the start. So how does it get there in the brief time between Matt G stepping back and Rajang grabbing it? Someone or something has to be placing it there in real time. But who/what? And from where? There's no room beneath Rajang. I don't think he'd be so nonchalant with even the world's tiniest zookeeper laying tucked away under his legs. We already know the effects artist who made this doesn't possess nearly enough compositing skills to convincingly erase someone reaching from behind this furry, complicated moving creature, and Rajang would probably react to something like that. The area in between them is a hotbed of changing reflections, and hey, is that the original card wriggling its way into his sleeve? Perhaps assisted by some sort of classic magical assistive device? I've said too much. Anyway, it just wouldn't be a sensible plan to bet the success of the entire visual effect on disguising something that's right in the middle of all the action. But what's going on up here? Not much, right? After Matt G finished penetrating the card, he could have just put his hands down, but he steps way back. Love that little wiggle. It's as if he wants to make sure the space back here is as boring as possible, free of any moving reflections. With a bit of enhancement, we can just about make out a brief freeze frame in this area. Could the card have been lowered into place from up there? If only there was some way to see what's beyond the edge of frame. Oh, Dronus! You know what to do. Well, what do you know? There is a convenient catwalk up there from which a qualified staff member could hypothetically lower something down. Here's an old video of them hanging something right there. It's not very close to the glass, but there clearly are ample little slats that make it easy to get right up against it. Matt G would have to work in close cooperation with the zoo, but I mean, he was performing an entire show there, and he's from the area. Uh-oh. Dronus, you're being watched. Maximum vicinity scan. Oh no, it's a wild Matt Parker! Return to base, return to base! Oh man, now I gotta print a whole new drone. Okay, it's like this. When Matt G pulls his hands away, what we see is a real card, but one which isn't there yet at that moment. It's a still image of a card from the future, when Matt has already stepped back. The dark halo around it is a lack of his reflection. In reality, the reflection is scrolling over an empty spot, while above, the card is being lowered into place on invisible thread. And this is being covered up by a frozen patch of clean background. Now, there's no way to know whether this lowering was performed manually by a person or via some other high-tech way. It's not like there are miniature, industry-standard magic devices that can operate invisible thread in highly controlled ways we've seen Matt use. And it's not like he's actually ever performed a version of this card-through-glass illusion on stage using special props. Some things are just bound to remain a mystery. But one way or another, the card creeps down along the glass like a spider. At a certain point, it enters Rajang's field of vision, and he looks up. Naturally, he reaches for the object, and this moment, exactly one frame away from his fingers making contact, determined exactly where and how the card would appear to be stuck on the glass. That's why it's neither rotated nor positioned exactly where Matt placed his card. In the static image, the card isn't even necessarily flush against the glass. It's kind of hanging in midair. At the moment of impact, both his fingers and the card travel a tiny bit forward. Now Rajang's extreme dexterity starts to make sense. He's not deftly peeling the card off without dropping it. He's hooking his finger over the top of a hanging object and guiding it toward himself. The beauty of this setup is that as soon as Rajang takes the card, no more effects are needed. It's a clean finish, coveted by every magician. The patch covering up the card's descent goes away, Rajang's strength immediately breaks the fragile thread, leaving the card in his full control. He wisely and skillfully mimics the actions that were just shown to him, but without the help of any magic rigging. And Matt G just has to pretend like the original Ace of Hearts isn't chafing his forearm. I gotta admit, this is the cleverest way to do it. It's elegant. If it wasn't done this way, that would be very stupid. Luckily, this was the method, so props. But it wasn't bulletproof. Rajang could have noticed and reached for the card earlier, outside the penetration area. The thread could have broken too early, sending the card straight to the floor, or awkwardly dangling off his hand. A bird or insect could have flown across the reflection at the exact wrong time, making things extra difficult to composite. It all still depended on a lot of luck. But in the end, it did work, turning out as a very charming video that seems to have touched the hearts of a lot of people, and promoted the zoo, and demonstrated the inventiveness and technical creativity of the magician. But if it's a showcase of the VFX themselves, well then, Matt, I'm sorry, but they're not good enough, mate. Too timid. You gotta really go for it. Maybe use much thicker glass. In fact, double it up. Have everything move around in a legit way, and why cover the card up with your hand? Just use a bit of telekinesis to push it through into the center between the two panes. Then give it one more little nudge to get it all the way through into the front, where a species of your choice can peel it off. But now I'm afraid it's time for me to go, kids. A studio in Los Angeles is about to desaturate all the green screens and the behind-the-scenes footage of their next blockbuster. Remember, love with your heart, use your head for everything else. Captain Disillusion!